It's the third edition of our Brew with a Blue. I'm getting much better at saying that 3 days series here on the Blue Room YouTube channel. And joining me now is a man who doesn't actually drink brews. He's got a nice bit of orange juice there. It's Mike the Asha. Mike, thanks very much for coming on.
That's all right. That's all right. We've had loads of chats about tea, haven't we, on the Blue Room Extra? I think over the past 18, 24 months.
Yeah, so anyone obviously who's not who doesn't subscribe to our stuff won't have got this. So Mike's just doing a runner. I don't know if Mike knows that people can see this video. Obviously,
I do, but
he's back. Yeah, what was
I
that?
had to lag it for a second, just one little second, but I'm back.
Was the dog doing a runner?
No, it was just my phone going off in the corner. Can't be doing that.
Fair dues. But yeah, people find it a bit weird that you don't have hot drinks.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like I have the opposite thing where tea is just I find a bit crap. Just as a drink generally, I don't think
coffee.
I think that's even worse because I think coffee leaves you with such a weird taste in your mouth. Like you always feel the need to brush your teeth immediately after you drink coffee. It's just not, and anything you put in your mouth that you feel the need to brush your teeth immediately after, don't put in your mouth.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just going to leave that one there. Leave that euphemism to one side. But I reckon if people who know you who don't know your hot drinking preferences would say you are. I reckon they'd guess that you're like a coffee connoisseur.
I don't know what that says about me. I think that makes me sound like an absolute pillock.
No. Maybe not. Maybe connoisseurs, but someone who has like 3 or 4 different coffees that they drink. You've got a cafetiere in the house.
That sounds a lot like Mr. Patrick Boylan to me.
Oh, he's got about 5 different cafetières, I reckon, and all that.
Oh, definitely. He's got a cafetiere for every room.
Yeah, a cafetiere cupboard. He's probably got a full cupboard shelf stacked with them, yeah.
Pantry. He's got a cafetiere pantry.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's absolutely right. So it's juice with a blue when it comes to this morning anyway. First of all, how's it going? So you've been self-isolated for a while. You've been taking this very seriously. You've been working from home on TERN over the past couple of months or so. Any big changes? You finding it much different, or?
I don't like not going outside. I'll be honest with you. It's that thing where if you have 2 toddlers and one of them's playing with a ball, and you tell the other one that they can't play with the ball, they immediately want the ball. That's like me with going outside at the minute a little bit. Usually I'd be like, I'd kill for another hour just to not do anything and sit inside. But I don't know, some points you do just want to go out, have a nice bit of lunch or something somewhere and just go and see new surroundings. But we've got a dog here as well, so I'm allowed me hourly mandated government allowed walk, which does me the world of good.
You'll have to split that in half and take them out like for 2 half-an-hour walks or not. I don't really know what the rules is in regards to that.
Nobody knows what the rules is.
Yeah.
It's just... But no, I usually take them out for an hour and then someone else will take them out for an hour later on. So we get out for long enough because I don't think half an hour doesn't feel like enough when you're out walking. Maybe if you're out running, it really does. But when you're just having a little walk, 45 minutes is probably about right, I think.
Have you found yourself appreciating the great outdoors a little bit more? Because me and Chelsea went out for a little run yesterday, just around Sefton Park, only like 2.5 miles, and we finished it. So I was walking down towards our road, and she just stopped and got her phone out. And I pointed it upwards. It's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just taking a picture of the sky. I was like, it's still blue. It's still got clouds in it. She's literally going to work every day still, but I think she's got more of an appreciation of it. When you hear the rustling of the trees and the feel of grass under your feet or anything like that, you're taking it all in a bit more.
I mean, I haven't gone completely the end of American Beauty, I'll be honest with you. But, I mean, I quite like the outdoors anyway. It's always a nice time just going out and going for a walk. But I feel a little bit like Larry David when I'm out because I'm going near no one and I'm allowed to not go near anyone. Like, it's not publicly frowned upon for me to now completely avoid people. It's brilliant.
It's
I'm allowed. I'm actually encouraged now to veer off and ignore people. It's fantastic.
It's like the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where he trips Shaq and no one wants anything to do with him. And everyone's just thinking, this is great. And he buys coffee for everybody in the whole Starbucks, yeah.
That's what this is to me. That's exactly what it is.
I've just got to inform everybody that Chelsea just opened the door then and poked her head in. She must have heard me slagging off a photograph in the sky. So
Oh no.
yeah, that's me done for the rest of the day anyway.
Yeah.
But let's move it on away from that. How's TERN going? Obviously you've done 3 editions now. They've all sold out, been really well received, and everyone seems to be loving it.
Yeah, do you know what? It's gone better than we expected. And obviously, me and Darren, the lad who does the editing along with me, we we're both Evertonians, so we're both inherently pessimistic about dreams. And this is something we always wanted to do for a long time. And we spoke about the idea first of all. I think it was the week before Morgan Schneiderlin signed for Everton, to give you an idea of how long ago this idea has been in the pipeline for, and just needed to be put together properly when we could do it. And at that time, it was a case of, if we could get it and just at least make it so we can keep doing it, just make enough money to keep doing it, that would be ideal. But it's been so well received that we've been able to put second prints out, third prints out of both issue 1 and 2. We managed to get a second print out for number 3, but obviously we can't do any more at the minute. We're just sort of sat on our hands with it. So right now it's a case of working out when we're going to be able to post the next load of issue 3s, because we don't know. It could be a month, it could be 2.5 months, could be 3 months, could be 6, who knows. But the main thing is working on number 4 now, which is dead exciting, and loads of other little things as well.
Yeah, you're gonna have loads of. It seems as though you've had loads of like sort of organic feedback on it as well. And obviously, it's something that we always cherish here at the Blue, when people reach out to you individually on Twitter, or they reach out to the account and say, I really enjoyed that show, or that sort of thing. It does give you a little bit of a buzz. And I think what I've seen from the stuff that you guys have retweeted on the feed is that a lot of people are just at you straight away saying, I've got this, it looks absolutely boss, it's the business. And I think that's always the best sort of feedback you can get, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, not for me personally, because I edit the words and Darren edits all the graphics. So I want people to tell me how great the words are. I don't really care about how great it looks now.
Well, people have been talking about the articles as well, and saying how good they are and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. And some of the articles in the third one, I don't know. The thing is, as we've gone on, each one, I think we've sat down, we've looked at each one, and we look back at number 1 now, and we were incredibly happy with that when we put it out. We thought it was the best we could do. But we look back at number 1 now, and we think we could do so much more with that and with that content now if we had it all over again.
What sort of things in particular would you look back and say? Because I've got issue 1 here, and I sort of agree with you. It looks the business. There's loads of good pieces in it. I suppose it's like anything. You probably learn as you go.
Yeah, I think I'd go back and I'd change the order around slightly of what was where it was. I'd edit a few bits in, a few bits out in terms of the words. I know Daz had a few different ideas to do with the design for a couple of the pieces. So there's a few like just little quality of life tweaks that we would have done that would have made it just maybe a little bit more rounded. But the second one, again, we were completely happy with. But again, we changed things, and we sit with number 3 now. We're completely happy with it. But by the time we get to number 5, we probably change all of it.
Yeah, brilliant. I bet you'll get loads of article submissions about life in isolation for issue 4.
Yeah, I think we might get a little bit of burnout on that one somehow.
No, it's been great. The link to all the stuff, and if people want to check it out, some more details is in the description below. So do go check that out. Is it at Turn Zine on Twitter?
It is at Turn Zine, but the best thing about it is that it's timeless in terms of its content. I'm sure you know as well that it's not the sort of magazine that's going to be chip paper in 2 weeks. You could pick up issue 1 now and it's still completely just as pertinent. Well, you wrote for issue 1, didn't you, Matt? About
Marco Silva being quite good. So we'll forget about that. Maybe that piece is not quite so timeless as some of the others in there.
Well, that one sentence maybe is a little bit timeless, but the entire gist, the rest of them are all just relevant. And the whole thing about it was finding writing that could be relevant whenever people wanted to read it. It's not just a pick up and throw away magazine. It's something you'd want to keep around because it looks nice and it's always going to be relevant.
Absolutely. It is the business. Like I said, check it out. The links are in the description below if you've not seen it already. You've got your kit on.
Yes.
Just when we set the Skype call up there and you sort of ambled your way into shot, the first thing I said straight away. I imagine everybody who's seen you in that kit will think the same game. And it is, Mike.
It's Samuel Eto'o scoring at Burnley in a 3-1 win. But most importantly, it is Stephen Naismith booting the ball dead hard at Tom Heaton's head off the bar.
Just classic moment. I've seen a lot of people have obviously been doing that poster football picture of you're a football person thing. But I think I've seen about 3 or 4 different Evertonians post the actual clipped shot of that ball hitting Tom Heaton on the back of the head.
It's just such a perfect moment because the goal is a fantastic goal, first of all. It's that one where he cuts inside from the right, isn't it, and bends it from outside the box. And then you've got Naismith following it up, running to follow it in and get the rebound so he doesn't alter his stride at all and just about connects perfectly as the ball is semi-bouncing. And instead of it hitting the back of the net, it bashes off the roof of the bar. But it's the way Tom Heaton's head sort of feels like. Do you know when you'd be in school and you'd always have those games that would go round where it'd be slaps or something? People would get slapped on the back of the head or something. And the entire school would be paranoid about it for a week. Those sorts of things, they would seep through the entire psychosis of a school for a week.
Yeah.
Honest, that would be all that people were fixated on. You're going to be like, for history, it doesn't matter. I don't want to get slapped on the back of the head. And the way his head moved was like that paranoia was inside him and had filled him up at that moment. And his worst fear had been realised. Because it's just kind of one of them where shoulders hunched down and he sort of shields himself as it's happening because he knows exactly what's happening. It's just perfect.
Every time someone scores against him now, he just goes into the recovery position just in case the ball gets wide off. It was almost like his head and the ball became one. Just sort of molded together. Like on those pictures I mentioned there where people took a screenshot of it, at times you've got to really zoom in to see where the ball is because it just looks like it's just sort of gone into his head like a cartoon and then
it's hard to find where Tom Heaton stops and the ball starts.
It is. I mean, what are your memories of that side? Because it's funny enough, I saw, just when I was putting these videos up on our YouTube channel, I think Dave and Les have access to this as well. So some of the videos that people watch and they get the algorithms are a bit mad. And I think someone had been watching some old Everton fan chant footage and the chants from this game, that you signed Lambert, we've signed Samuel Eto'o, chants came up. And when you think that this was in 2014, we're less than 6 years on from then, and you think, oh my word, how much things have changed in the world and in football.
How much things have changed and how much things have stayed the same. Like there are so many things there to do with Everton. You look back at that season, I don't know. I think this season in particular was it was disheartening from the very beginning. I think that's how most of us know our Everton and sort of have a relationship with Everton is through those disheartening moments. Because I think the first real gut punch this season was the 2-2 against Arsenal when they were 2-0 up. Alexis Sanchez's debut when they were 2-0 up with about 10 minutes to go, and I think Giroud.
Wasn't it?
What was that?
That was the second game of the season, wasn't it? Because
it was.
McGeady scored that ridiculous goal, didn't he?
At Leicester, yeah.
Then we had the Arsenal game, then we got absolutely annihilated by Chelsea 6-3, didn't we, at home?
We did. And from then, I think we got through the first couple of months relatively bashed. And it became more about a Europa League journey more than anything. I think the nights that we had then were just, they were the niceties, really. Because obviously we had the 5 million trip to Lille, as people will tell you. And the home game against Wolfsburg, which I still maintain is one of my best times in recent memory at Goodison. I have no idea how we managed to beat, was it 4-1 in the end?
Yeah.
And they absolutely battered us from start to finish.
Games against them, they must have had about 70 shots against us and scored.
Honestly, ridiculous. And obviously, as then you get to the away game, which it's the coldest I've ever been at a football ground.
But that was that kit, wasn't it, as well?
It was this kit. Yeah. It was, and I can still remember the noise the ground made and I say the ground because it was the entire ground, made when Romelu Lukaku stuffed up his first touch for the first goal. It was like an entire Goodison groan
Yeah.
in the middle of Germany. It was so weird. And then obviously he manages to recollect it and goes on and scores. And those two games were just so good. And then you have the absolute gut punch of Kiev, which I think lives very long in the memory for a lot of Evertonians, where it was almost, I don't know if that was the beginning of the end, because we'd seen a lot before that, but it definitely felt like a watershed moment for Roberto Martinez at Everton. It was just, you need to go there and not concede. Just don't concede and we'll be fine. And it couldn't have gone much worse, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's interesting on the Martinez because that second season he obviously had so much credit in the bank from the first campaign, and the thing that people were talking about at the time was how much the Europa League was, impacting our domestic form, and people sort of hung the hat on the Europa League. And I think through Martinez, I imagine every Evertonian went through these phases where you sort of internally you start to have little doubts after that first season and things aren't going so well. Then internally you think this isn't going to work, and then actually saying it to your mates or on podcasts or on social media. And I think that game against Kiev was where I thought deep down in my Everton consciousness, and I didn't even want to go down there, but where I probably thought deep down that it's not going to work for this fella. When you look at the situation Everton were in that game, obviously they won the first leg 2-1, didn't they, at Goodison Park. They get it back to 1-1, don't they, with brilliant goal from Rom, and you're thinking, right, we've got the away goal. This is all going to be sound now. And just the way in which they capitulated. And I think as well, in that game in particular, the way in which Antonin Alcaraz was having a genuine 1 out of 10 game, and he just left him on the pitch. He didn't bring him off. He came out for the second half. And I think that's just where inside I thought maybe this isn't going to be the rapid upward trajectory that we all thought it was going to be under this fella.
Oh, absolutely. I think I can't even tell when that started to dawn on me. I don't know if it was this season. Obviously, there are so many memories in the season that would come afterwards that would just absolutely put this one into a hat. Like, you've got obviously the Chelsea, the Bournemouth, and all the rest of them, the West Hams, the Umani Asses. You've got so many different things in that season that just
Wembley.
you're a perfect storm. But as you were saying there, I think this. I can't even remember the result we got at Anfield that year. I can't remember it.
I think it was Jagielka when Jag scored. It was 1-1.
There you go. Why can I not remember that? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of them things that this season it melds into this weird blend of the absurd and the excellent. And the excellent doesn't come from barnstorming results. It comes from the experiences at places, I think, more than anything. That was all that we really had in that season. But this kid just reminds me of Stephen Naismith. It just reminds me of John Stones and those sorts of players and the sort of Everton that I saw potential in more than anything. I think was Stephen Naismith playing as a false nine because Roberto Martinez was that innovative and he was a real thinker and he was going places. And John Stones being England's best centre half, being able to pass the ball, it's amazing. And 4 or 5 months later, no, the crap, get rid of them, bin them off, don't like it anymore.
Oh yeah, I remember Barkley missed the start of that season as well, didn't he? He got like a really bad injury on the eve of the first game, and that's
it was the night before, wasn't it? I think that was one of the big bad news Greg O'Keefe things, wasn't it? It was the night before. It was like, well, got some bad news for everyone, and that was just the start that we just really didn't need.
Yeah, I remember he came back against Villa at home, and we battered Villa 3-0, and Barkley was really good, and everyone was like, right, all going to be fine now. It's laughing. This will just be like last season all over again, and then obviously that didn't transpire either. But
Villa was brilliant. Do you know what?
Yeah,
I think it's really sad. That was the year Villa went down, wasn't it?
I think it was the year. I think they went down the year after.
Was it the year after? Yeah, it was the year after because Nias came on, famously didn't come on against them away. Yeah, but Villa was brilliant because I think it was like they were kryptonite. Like Roberto Martinez was their kryptonite. Like whenever we would play Villa, it would be that sort of absolute shellacking. Yeah. Whereas if we played any other team in the world ever, it would be the absolute opposite.
Yeah, maybe they were just a bit rubbish at that time. Who knows?
That is true.
Mike, really enjoyed that. Thanks very much for coming on. I know you've been playing Footy Manager at the moment, so I'll let you get back to that.
Thank you. It is incredibly important.
It sounds it. What's also important is that we're starting Series 2 of 11s tonight on the Blue Room Extra. Are you excited?
Well, I need to do my team first.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can say what the team is, can't we? So we're rejigging the hosting, so we're going back to the start. So I'm going to be hosting this one, and I picked the category. And the category is red cards / retrospective bans, totaling 3 games or more. So comical, crucial, just brutal tackles, just lads in an Everton shirt who got sent off or banned in the most ridiculous way possible.
I can't wait. It's going to be a good one. Do you know what? Like, if you've not gone back and listened to them yet, just it is worth the subscription money alone just to listen to those because they are laugh out loud funny.
I'm maintaining that I think the second one we did, the Everton that one, with the sort of like Umar the Ash and people like that, is probably one of the funniest things we've done on here. Really enjoyed it. But Mark Mosey's the series champion, so we don't want to be too biased. Fingers crossed somebody can dethrone him.
We'll see.
Next 4 shows, Mike needs to get on his team. No, my Footy Manager. Get planning for that show tonight.
I will do.
Top man. What else we've got coming up on the Blue Room? We've got Subs Weekly on Monday. Stats Pack with Matt Cheatham is going to be back on Thursday. We've got Kickabout with Rob and Kate on that. I'm not entirely sure who the third person is. Has he asked you, Mike?
Not yet.
Okay.
It'll
Be Rob, Kate, or somebody else, and then Les is doing mailbag on Friday as well. Thanks very much to Mike for joining us this morning, and we'll speak to you all again very soon.